What is your child eating? What should he or she be eating? I want to delve into some nutrition here. I know you may have a picky eater that only wants to eat 5 things, and we can get that child to eat more. The foods he or she is eating are probably feeding the gut microbiome, which are probably pathogens that are craving foods that are easy to break down into simple sugars, because that's what feeds those pathogens in the gut. What I want to talk about is real food, right? Versus what we're sold in this country is food. What's healthy, right? The commercials on TV, the cereals, the Pop-Tarts, the breakfast waffles, the easy foods. This isn't food, you guys. So it's usually a lot of processed grains, whether it's wheat or gluten-free. The gluten-free are usually made with tapioca starch, potato starch, rice flour, almond flour. Almond's not a grain, so that would be a good one. But a lot of times they're made with substitute grains that also break down into simple sugars that feed the bad bugs in the gut. So it's not really probably the food you want to be feeding your child. We have pastas, breads, breakfast cereals, a lot of pre-made microwavable foods. And think about the level of carbohydrates in these. Yes, we need carbohydrates, but we don't need all of our food to be carbohydrates. We need good fats, we need good proteins, and we need less carbohydrates. These processed foods, crackers, cookies, chips, even like the veggie straws, any kind of processed thing that says fortified with, that's going to be a synthetic vitamin that's made in a lab that isn't really easy for our bodies to assimilate. If we have a natural vitamin, say from a fruit or a vegetable, the vitamin has cofactors in that food that help that vitamin get inside the cells. When we use a synthetic form, we're just using one compound, not the whole, maybe 10, 20, 30 compounds that help that vitamin actually work. So it can actually be something that takes up space in the body, these synthetic vitamins, but doesn't do the body any good. And therefore, when you have a good vitamin coming in, it may not be able to get in. It may be blocked. So one example of this is vitamin E, which is often added to foods as a preservative, as an antioxidant, keeps things from going bad. So vitamin E, the one that's often added is alpha tocopherol, which is just one compound of this 8 forms of vitamin E, right? And when you have all 8 forms, like in natural foods, then you have a better uptake and usage of that vitamin E. And vitamin E is found in seeds like sunflower seeds, almonds, hazelnuts, not Nutella or some hazelnut spread with lots of sugar, the real nut itself. It's found in mangoes, avocados, and broccoli. Those are some of the foods that has a lot of that one in particular. And these synthetic forms can be not helpful and even detrimental to the body. I know a lot of our kids have this white food craving, right? I hear it all the time. They like French fries, chicken nuggets. Yes, there might be protein in there, but it's highly processed. So French fries, chicken nugget, pasta, cheese, yogurt, these things with gluten and dairy are what's craved. And there's a good reason for that. They make the brain feel good, right? They're like morphine. They make us feel really, really good. And they can be craved by the microbes in the gut. So these can be a good craving, addictive. We could have a sensory issue. So many kids that I work with love that crunchy texture. And there's lots of vegetables you can give that are crunchy. I have a feeling it has something to do with the sound in the mouth, a sensory. It could be a feeling in the mouth. It could be the teeth crunching. There is a sensory component to that. And there are crunchy vegetables like jicama and carrots and celery. And you're probably thinking, oh my God, I'll never get my kid to eat that. Have hope. There are ways. I find that when we pull toxins out of the body and we give the right micronutrients like zinc and magnesium and maybe some other vitamins, that those taste buds change and even those sensory issues change. I've had kids who couldn't stand to have their head in the underwater, or have the shower go on their head, have their hair cut, or have their face touched or washed. And that completely changes. That's another head sensory thing, not related to food, but it is sensory. So I talked about zinc deficiency, so that can throw off the taste buds, or it can be a combination of all of this, right? When there's so many things kind of misfiring or miswiring in the brain, or not wiring at all, we can have all these issues, including food, which can be sensory, and it can be taste buds, and it can be so many things. So what should you feed your child? Healthy, nutritious, whole foods, organic foods. And what does that mean? It means stop giving your child snacks that have artificial colors, non-organic wheat, or, preferably any wheat, because when we go gluten-free, we see huge changes in kids. Any kind of bad oils, and bad oils, you can read down in the blog, bad oils are canola. No way, don't give it. Soy. These two are most frequently used in restaurants. So if you're going out to eat, you're getting these bad oils for you and your child. Vegetable oil, corn oil, safflower and sunflower oil are a little bit better. Peanut oil, margarine's bad. Don't have it anymore. Any flavor enhancers like MSG, and that can hide out as listed as any number of ingredients: textured vegetable protein, MSG, flavor enhancers. So there's a lot of names for MSG. Anything with lots of sugar, right? I was just reading an article that manufacturers want you to get addicted to their foods and buy more and more and more, right? They want your kids to like having those chippy snacks, or those those cereals. What do they do to make them taste better and more addictive? They add more sugar, especially the gluten-free ones that don't taste really great on their own. This just feeds the bad bugs in the gut. So hint, hint, we definitely need to take care of the gut. You can have a nutrition appointment with us. We can do some assessments and help fix the gut, which will help change what your child eats and craves, which will help change the taste buds. It's all connected. And we want to also feed our children healthy proteins and healthy fats and healthy whole foods. So I suggest only organic meats. I know it's not easy to get in every area, and I know it's very expensive. Grass-fed is the next best thing, but even I think manufacturers can use grass-fed even if it's grain finished. There's certain loopholes for using these terms. So your first thing is to read ingredients. Your second thing on everything. Your second thing is to have the most wholesome meats possible, right? That are organic, that have non-GMO feed, like that. Are they getting injected with antibiotics and hormones? Because what the animal eats, your child eats, and you eat. So just like, let's think back a couple cycles of life, right? Whatever I'm putting in my body, I have to look at what that animal ate and then say, do I really want that in my body? And whenever I want to buy some junky food because I have a craving in the store, all I have to do is read the ingredients, and I know what these do in the body, and I put it back down. So let me transfer that wisdom to you and say, if you think about the meat you're buying, it's that 89-cent a pound chicken or whatever it is. Think about how that chicken was raised, what went into its body, what it ate. Did it actually move around? A lot of times people have to kill these animals really early in their lifetimes before they get super sick. So if that is building in their bodies, guess what? You're just putting that right into your own body or your kids' bodies. All right, the other thing is serve organic fruits and vegetables. Stop giving cookies, crackers, the Pop-Tarts, the breakfast stuff. You know what? You can have a savory meal for breakfast. You can have leftovers from the night before. That's what I do all the time now. I've just stopped any sweet stuff in the morning. No pancakes, no waffles, no cereals, no Pop-Tarts. And believe me, I used to eat that back in the day. I grew up on that stuff. I grew up on junk sugar cereal. It's a wonder I'm healthy. So smoothies are a great option, right? We can hide fruits in smoothies. We can hide vegetables in soups that are blended, so nothing's visible. We can put things in frozen pops. So you get those popsicle molds, and you can put some good fruits. Even you can sneak some vegetables in there that aren't going to be like high taste vegetables. You can make funny faces on the plate. That's what I used to do with my son. I used to call broccoli trees, and make faces, make it appealing so that they'll at least want to try it or play with their food. Every exposure is important and gets them closer to actually eating the food. So no more chips, no more cookies. I think it's crazy that there's an Oreo cookie cereal. Like there's a cereal based on a different junk food. And I see this again and again. There's junk foods taking off of junk foods, and these are not foods. News flash, these are not foods. They're not nutritious. All they're doing is putting simple sugars into the body and artificial ingredients that can harm, like the TBHQ, food preservatives, food colors, make your kids hyper. And then just this stuff is so nasty to the gut microbiome, and just it makes these bad microbes prevalent, right? And then it makes your child crave more. So what do you give instead? I like cut red and green peppers, jicama. It's kind of a root vegetable. Look it up, Jicama, and you can look it up. It's very, it's a little bit like, I like kohlrabi too. They're similar. They don't have as much taste, and jicama it kind of tastes like water. It's white inside and it's very crunchy and is very watery. And there's carrots and celery sticks that I mentioned before, and nut butters or hummus dip or some other dips for flavor could be used. I like nuts. I like kale chips. I like energy nut balls. There's a recipe in the blog. Not exactly a recipe, but the ingredients that you add together. And it's really kind of a loose recipe. And just bear in mind, please, that junk foods are worse than junk. They're toxic to the body, especially to someone who doesn't detox easily. And it creates these behaviors. It creates anxiety. It creates moodiness. It creates anger. It creates stimming, these toxins that go in the body. So I hope that gives you some ideas. Please reach out if you need help with your child's nutrition. We can do an assessment and recommend some tests to actually see what's in the gut and see what toxins are around, and then develop a plan on how to get those out so that all these things shift, right? Your child is going to eat more healthy food. The taste buds change. Speech develops. Eye contact is better. Focus and attention is better. I see all of these things happen when we have the right diet and we have those toxins removed. So thanks for listening.